There's a lot of things that could happen that could prevent your opponent to don't tap. Or maybe because you feel like, oh, I'm not exactly in the right place and I cannot make the submission from here, but still there's an option. Like for example, I have the position, I reach over to go the neck, I get a perfect like lock in, but then the person's hand come out. And obviously like I still can pull my arm out and then go back over there. But his arm come out, my arm stay in, and I don't have only his neck, I have his arm in. So from the same position, guys, I can still connect that. I'm still connecting. He can keep his arm inside the choke, and like I said, I'm not using my other hand to finish the choke. I'm using the other hand just to secure the choke. And now I'll keep his arm in, but I'll just drop my pack, my shoulder right against his neck. So one more time. You guys can see that when I got here, one more time. I got here, I went there, I went to the choke, and his arm just palmed. I can connect my hand and just keep the same choke, Definitely feel like even more secure because you not only hold the head, because when you hold the head, you feel the other person can move too much. This time I have his arm in. Everything depends, like from the first time that I saw the choke, that Damien has his opponent with the arm in, everything depends how well I land on the choke. So his arm is in, my arm is still out, and as long like I have a full like a choke around his neck, I just make the connection so I can maintain the same choke. And the connection is like this, still the same one. My elbow is not gonna be tucked in like before. My elbow is gonna be a little bit open, but then I'm gonna just focus to just keep my shoulder drop in the same position. One more time. So I'm fighting, I get over, I go over there. As soon as I go to choke, his arm comes out. As his arm comes out, hand just come in. You guys can see my hand underneath over there. I have too much weight on top of him. My weight has to go back. I get right on the place, my shoulder just drop and maintain the squeeze. So remember, if his arm is in, but I have like a perfect like exposure of his neck, I can just maintain the right place. I can just maintain the right squeeze, and I will have. I don't care if his arm inside, as long like I have a good grip. You can even use like my old grip, like a seatbelt grip, but you're still gonna be able to connect your hands like that. The elbow is not gonna be tucked in, but the other one is gonna be just dropping fine. We have a great landing on the choke. The neck was exposed, but the person got their arm in. I did everything like fine. I got his hands down. I removed the choke, but then his arm come in. And once his arm come in, I know I have the neck exposed. I know the neck is open. I can just start squeeze. But as soon as I connect my hands and he start to the squeeze, he pull his elbow down. He pulled his elbow down, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but my elbow is so open right now. Let go, Matheus. I'm not squeezing my elbow tight. I'm not keeping everything tight. When his elbow goes down, he can even use the other hand to pull his elbow down, so I don't pull his elbow back. So I need to keep my elbows a little tighter. So to get my elbow a little tight, I need to pull his arm together, and then my elbow is gonna be tight. My elbow is gonna be tight, close to this. His arm is inside, but my elbow is still tight. But once he pulled my elbow down, I feel like he takes like half of the squeeze because I'm a little bit like instead of being doing this, I feel like I'm doing this when he pull my elbow down. So in that point, I have to find a way to fix this. And there's an option to fix. Maybe not the easiest one, but if you have a chance to finish and get the tap, you need to try. You need to risk it, get yourself out of that. So if I get over here and his elbow is pulling down, my elbow is still open, I'm gonna put some weight on top of him because I don't want to bump and get myself out of that. And towards this side, I'm gonna bring my knee close to his arm. So I bring my knee close in one move because over here is not safe. I can easily get bumped and lose position. So I'll bring my knee close and I'm gonna try stuff and get his arm down and my arm out. And go back to the position. Each time I'll go back to the position full force and lock him and don't let him move anymore. Because after you make a big move like this, it's very easy to the person kind of like start screaming and try to loosen up and open up and find his way out of that. So when you make a big move like this, you have to be ready to just kind of scoot back and then land back to the position. So one more time. And the knee, you cannot take too long. Your knee cannot go there and kind of keep bumping, pushing slow his arm. It has to be one time. Your knee has to push his arm down and get your arm out at the same time. I have the position. I'm ready to release. I'm going to release my hand because once I hit his elbow, my hand has to come out. So I'm about to release. I'm going to just get ready, prepare, and go back quick. As I'm secure this, elbow goes back, hand goes under, hide my face, my chin from his hand, and just keep a tight squeeze. Guys, stay here, it's not safe. So that's the only time I cannot stay here and stop over here. So once I come over here, I have to get out. I can't pause over here. I have to shoot myself back to the position and back to the right place to get the squeeze. And then I start to apply all the steps and the details to go back to normal north-south position. It's one of those things that the person knows what helps him. The person knows what suits him in that position. He needs to kind of take some pressure out of his neck and then pulling his elbows down and bring your arm out. That helps too. But not many people think about like you still have option. You don't need to use your hands to free yourself. I'm still surprised that sometimes like I'm used the same thing when someone has a kimura me. Someone has a kimura me, I go there and I use my knee to break the grip. And people get very surprised, but it's kind of something that like if you don't have your hands, your feet, your hook, your knee needs to help you to kind of break out of position. And that's why I feel like it can be a very surprise and a very good option to someone that feels like, oh, I have a perfect north-south choke, but my arm is still stuck inside of his armpit and I need to get my arm out and he's not letting me get the finish. So just kind of like find your way around as much as you can to get the submission. One thing that like happen all the time because like sometimes people knows like if the person doesn't connect the hand in the north-south choke, like he's not gonna have the squeeze. And obviously like he's still gonna have the squeeze, but they know they're gonna have a chance or maybe one way out of that. And you have to be careful with this because I can do the whole things right. I can find the neck open, but then if you get here, the person cannot like control this arm over here. And I don't know if any one of you guys already like got cut in this position, but sometimes this arm over here is just one myself. This arm over here is just really hard to take it out because he's just framing. He's just kind of like support my arm over here, and I can't pull. If I keep pulling, if I pull it out, I'm gonna get myself like in a big trouble. So if my arm get cut over here, I cannot stay in this too long. If I keep moving out too long and keep trying, if I don't find my way out, like I'm gonna be losing. And I have the choke, but I just have my arm stuck over here. One more time, my knee has come to play. But I don't have time to get here and get out and put my weight there and just kind of go back to the position. Because once I get out over here, he can start bumping and just, I'm gonna really lose the whole thing. Your arm got stuck. Your arm got kind of like captured like halfway when you go to the position. Some people maybe has like a delayed reaction. You go to the neck, he doesn't defend the neck, but then he catch your arm before you connect your hands. Same thing with the guillotine. You reach the neck, some people doesn't have a quick reaction to defend, but if they stop the other hand, you cannot really finish the position. So happens the same thing over here. My arm cut in between. So I have the choke. As soon as I go on the neck, my arm just he just concentrates on this. So quick is almost like a knee or a kick. I have to just go and just pull it out. If I try just move out, hold on. If I just move out, I'm opening up too much. So I'm not trying to move out. I'm just trying like a knock, and my hand comes out. My arm is free. I don't open again because he can catch my arm again one more time. So I'm gonna knock, and I tuck my chin, my elbow, because if I leave open, he gonna find. So I keep my elbow. One more time. I can't take too long to do this, and I cannot think, oh, I'm gonna put my knee and just leave my knee over there. My knee has to go over there, knock his hand out of my arm, and I have to go back with my knee back at the same time that I catch my other hand. If I try something wrong and I try to do something right after, it's just like a recipe to lose the position. So I have to make sure my arm got cut. I can't use my hand, I can't swing my arm. I have to go there and just tap, pull my elbow back, my elbow tuck, and go back in place. Everything has to play together. Everything has to come apart at once. And what I'm trying to say, like, I'm still thinking about, I don't want to be bumping. I don't want his chin turn into me. I don't want his chin get inside. I don't want to like not be able to connect my hands quick, because if I take too long to connect my hands, he has more time to break out of the position. So once you do this, you have to do this quick. Let's do it. The squeeze can take as much as you want. You don't have to rush and go 100%. But to get over here, you have to move quick. And to get the finish, you can be slow and steady. And remember about those like a 67% of pressure, not 100%. And I didn't mention that, but if I go 67%, 1 minute the guy didn't tap, I keep increase that pressure. I go to 70, 80, and in the end I realize, oh man, this is like maybe one of the strongest neck that I ever faced. And now I go 100%, and I try last that 100% as long as like I need, but it's really hard. I don't think I remember someone, and I have a really good memory of something that is special and different than all the other people. I try to memorize all this, and to hold and to last over there with like 100% of pressure, it is really hard. But obviously, like those 67% of pressure is almost kind of like to soften up your opponent, making him gassing out, making like out of air. And then when you start going really like to 67, 80, he tap, man. And if you go to Abu Dhabi, Mundial, any like big tournament, don't think the person is gonna give up and tap with 6-7%. But the practice, you need to try and make the person tap without go 100%. Because sometimes if you go 100%, it's just kind of like a crank or using too much strength. Imagine like you have the submission and you did everything right, you caught the person by surprise, but something went slightly wrong. And slightly wrong, like maybe you did something wrong, or maybe your opponent did something right, but then you think you have, and then right in the ending, that move that you know you do everything right and you're gonna get the finish, something went slightly wrong in the end and you don't get the finish. So I have the north-south position over here, and I was able to get with my arm over, legs down. I was able to get my arm over his neck. It's everything wrapped around, but halfway he just caught my neck inside over here, and I can't go against his arm. I can have like a full choke on him, but if he caught me like really high over here, I can't keep the pressure. I'm gonna lose the position. So if he caught me in the middle, and I try to keep my neck low, I can keep some pressure. When I say keep some pressure, I can keep some pressure so he doesn't take me out. So he got my neck, I kind of tuck him, but his hand is still there. I still can free my neck and continue with the pressure in his neck, but it has to be something quick, because I don't think I can keep like that pressure too long against my neck. And then we go back to what we did before. I need to move quick and go back to what I was doing before he find his way out again. So I have the choke. He got his arm, his frame against my neck. I keep everything tight. I'm gonna release and I'm gonna tap. When I say tap, I'm gonna hit really hard and try to get my chin and my head out of the way of his neck. So he got this. I have the squeeze, he's pushing, push. I'm getting him off. The same pressure that he's pushing, it's almost work against him, because he's pushing so hard against that when I take my head out and I kind of like take his arm out of the direction of my chin, that helps you to come out. And that happens a lot. When I say happens a lot, you're able to to free and get yourself out there. But it's always a risk to release this, to do that and come back to this. It's not a risk like that you cannot make in tap. It's a risk that when you release it and hit, he can bump and break out of the position. So it's not that you cannot free your neck. You can free your neck. You can take his hand out of your neck. But if you're gonna come back to the choke or not, that's the biggest question. Come back, right? Put your legs down, Mateus. So if I have this, I have the choke, and legs down, Mateus. Your legs down. I have the choke. So the big question, like, I have to hit and come back the hand. It's not hard, guys, to free your neck from here. What is hard to release? Not wait, but come back in place. In that meantime, when you hit this, try hit the fast as you can and connect your hands the fast as you can. And you cannot just leave your chin open like I'm doing right now. So as soon as I hit push, I have a Abu Dhabi final that my opponent got his frame against my neck, and I felt like I can release and try clear my neck, and then go back to the squeeze. But I felt his arm was not too far away, so I almost felt like I can resist this and keep the choke. So in that point, I was able to study all the risk to keep the squeeze from there and don't release. But sometimes if you feel like the frame, the forearm against your neck is making you lose the position, you cannot keep the squeeze, you better take the risk, release like your hands, push, hit, kind of like tap his arm out of the way and then come back. Then just squeeze over there. But that's something that you're only gonna feel like depending like how much he's pushing or he's framing against your neck. But try and make the call like if you stay that too long and the person like is pushing out of the way, you have to move quick before you lose everything. And one thing that you gotta remember, like as long as you lose and still on top, you're fine. You just don't want to lose and get flip over and stay on the bottom. So just think about like what would be the best scenario from that. There's a lot of plays that like you feel like you just want to go to the north-south choke, but at the same time, like sometimes you're doing something else and the person give you the north-south choke. Sometimes you have a kimura, you have a guillotine, you have another attack, you have the back, and then the person give the north-south choke. So we cannot just look for the north-south choke once you're on the side control, because like every time like the person escape or get out or move from a place that they land over there with the neck exposed, you have to remember. And if I have a seatbelt position, the person wants to get out, he wants to get my hooks out, he wants to get back on the mat, he just wants to keep going, and I must have like a good seatbelt to maintain this position. But if the person starts to get his feet flat and they start scooping away, and I don't have no position, and I want to get on top, if I could, I wish I can sit him up and put the hooks and maintain the back control. Because if I'm from the back over here, I still also have a chance to finish on the neck. But in this position right here, I have the seat belt. He's sliding, he's coming out. As soon as I release, there's a position to just land a tight and good north-south choke from him. But I did like a good place because I have this seat belt. He scooped up. I start getting on top. I keep a lot of pressure on him. I start to come up. I start getting my knees to get up top, and he scooped out of the position. I hope I'm not letting him get out. I hope he didn't get out first. I hope I control that time. When I say that time, like I cannot pick him up. I know he's scooping out. I know I'm losing the seatbelt. But I'm hoping at least I can decide when I'm letting go. Because when I'm letting go, I must be ready to just swing my arm over at the same time. So as soon as he starts to get out, I'm hoping he's not only get out, but he's gonna get out when I'm letting go of the position. I'm not holding like 100% until I lose everything, and then I wanna try chase the north-south choke. I know I'm losing the position. I know I'm losing the position. I don't even have the fork. He's coming out. From here, there's a chance I don't even need to get on my knees. If he keeps scooping up, I can go straight to the north-south choke. But one more time, Mateus. Sorry. Go in that direction, all the way. So I know I'm getting on top, and he's scooping up. That moment, I'm swinging the arm over. But if I could choose, I know I cannot pick him up anymore. I know I cannot put the hooks anymore. I'm getting on my knees, and he keeps scooping up. I'm hoping I can be at least on my knees once I go to the north-south. This is just because I want to be more on top of him. One more time. This is just because like once I go, I have a quick move with my knees so I can go to the choke. Before when I let it go, if I have like my back is still on the mat, if I have like my back is too flat over here, and then he go like, I have to cover quick and get my feet quick. But the other way, if I can see him up, and I know he's scooping, as soon as I land, I'm much higher on his chest, and that's what I'm looking for. Second hand, I was going under. I'm opening this just so you guys can see, but reality, I need to keep like my toes on the floor and hiding my chin on my face from his hand, just away from him. I don't know if you guys ever thought about, but even if my head go close to the ground, it's okay, as long I'm not putting my neck open against his chin or his armpit. Every time you're gonna do a submission or any move that is gonna deciding moment, you don't wanna let the other person see when you're gonna do that, when you're about to attack, when you're gonna strike with the position. And because you have all the other submission, those submission, if it doesn't work, or maybe if the person already defend, you have a chance to just kind of use that on your favor and just go back to something that you know if you get that, if you land that, you're gonna finish. So if I have a side control over here, and I was pummeling the arm, I was working with the arm, I was getting everything, he was hiding the arm, and then I finally got a Kimura grip. I got a Kimura grip because he was keep turning to me. Maybe he's turning to me and then he's going to a single leg. I was able to get a Kimura grip. I have the Kimura grip. I can thread him with the Kimura grip. He can pull that back, but every time he pulled this back, he don't want to be on his side. He starts to pull his elbow down. And I don't want to go with him. If I have the Kimura grip and his back starts going on the floor, I'll keep the weight off. But at the same time, if he keeps fighting too hard to put his back on the floor, to put his elbow back on the floor, That would be a perfect time when he pull his arm down to go to the choke. So imagine like if something's gonna work, it's gotta work when the other person doesn't see that coming. So if you have a Kimura, if you like Kimura, if you're someone that like I always find the Kimura everywhere. And then if one day you realize like, oh, the guy is defending, the guy is wet, the guy like find like his hand to don't let me finish the Kimura, the north-south is going to be there, and that's something that you want to have like ready for you. Maybe the north-south is not going to be your number one submission. Maybe you like the Kimura, maybe you like something else. But the north-south has to be an option because not many people know, not many people is aware. So if I get over here, I'm pummeling, he keeps escaping on me, he get on his side, you know. He turned into me, you know what I mean? And I was able to get the Kimura. Once I get the Kimura, I start walking to go to the finish. I have the Kimura. I don't want to get flip over. His back start going on the floor. That would be like a good time to release and go to the north-south choke. I cannot stop over here, but I'm just want you guys to listen how quick you can get over there. And as you get over here, get yourself flat, back on the floor, toes driving, hide your face from his hands. Don't put your chin on his armpit, and just work on your squeeze. One more time, Matheus. Any moment he turn on his side, start getting the Kimura. I don't even like favor the Kimura that much, but if the person give me the lock of the Kimura, I can use this on my favor because he can feel a little bit tread, and then once he pull his arm down, that'll be a good time. This hand, as I told you, I cannot leave this hand hanging around because he can grab my hand. So I need to get my hand back, elbow tight, and just find the squeeze. One more time, the other side, Matheus. So he goes there. Start working this. This hand helps if his shoulder gets too close to you. And push and get the other hand underneath. So I always remember, like if the shoulder maybe is too heavy on you, you can just push, get your hand underneath, and then we have the perfect choke. Hope like you did the other time, but just come from like a different setup. And I hope like you can distract the other person with one thing so you can do another thing. And I believe you can only have one submission, because one submission is not enough, because you're not going to be able to use that submission to distract the person to do another submission. And it's really hard to just kind of like get a submission that the person always see. So you gotta have like all the options. You gotta have something to kind of like hide out your other intentions. We always have to just be ready to get a submission. If you like one submission, you have to try to be able to see the submission from everywhere you are. Sometimes you're not going to be able to find, but you need to be open for. When I say open for, like even if it takes some time, you have to pass someone's guard because you know you're going to be able to get the submission. You're already passing someone's guard, you're already open someone's guard, but then you got to see if maybe you can guide the person towards like where you know you can finish him. Imagine like I'm in a close guard over here. Close guard is always strict. The person knows like he has all the attack, but at the same time he can easily forget about his arm, and I can just pass his arm to the other hand, like this. So I control arm, I pin the arm on the ground, pass down to the other hand. So some people think they can just open a guard, they can just kind of get out, but I feel like I have an option even after I pass the guard. So I'm gonna base and pulse on top of him, start work together. My weight on my feet, I'm gonna start pushing this. Even if I don't push, even if I don't push, I can reach over and get this. And I'm able to get to the guard pass. Being stuck in this position is really bad. If I want to, I can probably like hold this position for like maybe like 10 minutes. What is bad because it's really hard to free your arm from your back after the person just passed your guard. But I don't want to be holding this. My arm, even my arm is going to get tight if I hold this position. But from this position, if you start pushing, if you start walking on my elbow, push my elbow, you know what I mean? Many times get really distracted about his neck. He's so worried about like free his arm that I have a perfect walk into the choke. And not many times you get the arm like underneath. You can open someone's guard like we did. I can pin this arm down, drive my shoulder, get his butt out of the floor, his butt out of the floor, pass the other hand. I can even go back on my knees, or I can walk away from there, and then I can just get my knee across. As I'm getting my knee across, as soon as his hands drop to try walking on that grip over there, that will be the right time to just kind of. I have his arm, but I still can get bumping. So as soon as I get in this position, like I mentioned, I can't pause over here. That's too dangerous, guys. Go to like a line with his knee in the same line that his body, and just focus on the squeeze. Sometimes I can be in a half guard position. I'm walk over here, and I can lift it up, get his arm underneath. Sometimes I'm in the same half guard and he start getting his elbow on the floor. He starts to come up. I can get his arm around. I can keep passing the half guard, but from this position, this one. I don't know if everybody noticed, but every time we finish doing one thing, we have to go straight to the other. We cannot have that much like a break or a pause or something that kind of like get you stuck when you make those transitions. The transitions when one person like he's still focused on one thing, but you don't care about that one thing that the person's focused. You care about what comes next. And in that meantime, as soon as he bring his attention, his focus to one thing, you go to another thing. And that's kind of the transition that I like to call like you catch most other people by surprise. When they think that you want something like the Kimura, when you think they're escaping out of like the back, when you think the person is getting tired because his arm is strapped under his back and he's about to kind of like try free, and then you go to what really matters, what is the submission. What is your goal to be able to finish the fight? And one more time, I'm going back to what I just said before. Has to be the type of submission that you know it's coming, the type of submission that you know you can do from everywhere, that soon the other person is going to explode, and a submission that doesn't take that much to lock in. There's not much work, you just kind of swing your arm and connect to the other hand, and then you have the submission.